You wake up, get ready for work, grab your keys, but wait, there's a car blocking your driveway. Not just for an hour. Not just for a day. 4 days. At first, I thought, maybe it's a mistake. Maybe they'll move it soon. But nope. Turns out, my neighbor decided my driveway was her personal parking spot. I asked nicely. She ignored me. I left notes. She laughed. I even caught her bragging about it to others. So, I did what any sane, logical person would do. I turned my driveway into a garage. Her reaction? Priceless. Want to know how it all went down? Buckle up, because this is one petty revenge story you don't want to miss. I live in a quiet neighborhood, well, mostly quiet, except for one entitled neighbor. She had a habit of acting like the entire street belonged to her. But this time? She took it too far. One morning, I found her car parked right in my driveway. At first, I thought, okay, maybe it's an accident. But hours passed. Then a full day. Then 2. I left notes. She ignored them. I knocked on her door. She rolled her eyes. She even told another neighbor, it's just a driveway. What's the big deal? The big deal? I was late to work. Missed an important meeting. And worst of all, one night, I had an emergency, but her car had me trapped. That's when I knew. Being nice wasn't gonna work. It was time for payback. And trust me, she never saw it coming. I tried to be patient. I knocked on her door, took a deep breath, and asked politely, hey, your car is blocking my driveway. Could you move it? She looked at me, smirked, and said, oh, I'll move it later. Then she shut the door in my face. Okay, maybe she was busy. So, I waited. An hour. 2 hours. A whole night. Her car was still sitting there like it owned the place. The next morning, I knocked again, a little firmer this time. She barely opened the door inside. Ugh, it's just a driveway. You weren't using it anyway. I was stunned. Did she just act like my own driveway wasn't mine? Trying to keep my cool, I said, actually, I do need it. Please move your car. She rolled her eyes and muttered, fine. I'll do it later. Spoiler alert, she didn't. Days passed. She completely ignored my notes. She even bragged to another neighbor, what's he gonna do? Call the cops? Over a driveway? One day, I saw her laughing about it with someone, saying, he should thank me for using that space, it was empty anyway. That was it. I'd had enough. I wasn't going to argue, beg, or fight. She thought she was clever. I'd show her clever. And that's when the idea hit me. If she wanted to park there so badly, maybe I should make it a permanent parking spot. A garage. The plan was set. She had no idea what was coming. I stood there, staring at her car sitting comfortably in my driveway like it had a mortgage on the place. And then, it hit me. If she wanted to park here so badly, I'd make it permanent. I grabbed a measuring tape and started planning. If I was gonna do this, I was gonna do it right. First, I made a few calls. Within hours, I had a crew ready, some guys who owed me a favor. We got to work fast. Step 1, wooden posts went up on both sides of the driveway. Step 2, thick plywood walls, nailed in securely. Step 3, a sturdy metal gate at the front. It was quick, clean, and solid. By the time we were done, my driveway wasn't a driveway anymore, it was a garage. I even installed a lock. When I stepped back to admire my work, I had one thought, this looks like an actual, legit parking spot. The best part? Her car was still inside. Now, all that was left, was to wait. The next morning, I heard banging on my door. Then louder. Then screaming. I opened it slowly, pretending to be half asleep. Her face? Pure shock. She pointed at the new structure, voice shaking. What the hell is this? I stretched, yawning. Oh, that? My new garage. You seem to love parking there, so I made it official. She lost it. Screaming, threatening, demanding I take it down. But here's the thing, it was my property. And she had no way out. I barely had time to enjoy my morning coffee before I heard it, bang. 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 Someone was pounding on my door like they were the FBI. I opened it slowly, trying my best to look confused. And there she was. Face red, eyes wide, arms flailing like a windmill. What the hell did you do to my car? She screamed. I rubbed my eyes, yawning. Oh, that? My new garage. You park there so much, I figured you'd appreciate some walls around it. Her jaw dropped. You can't do this. Move it. Now. I leaned against the doorframe. Sorry, can't do that. This is my property. And now, my garage. She lost her mind. Yelling. Stomping. Threatening to call the police. And guess what? She did. 15 minutes later, a cop pulled up. She ran to him like she'd just been rescued. Officer. He locked my car inside this thing. He has no right. The cop walked up to me, looked at the garage, then at her, then back at me. Is this your property, sir? I smiled. Yup. Every inch of it. The cop turned to her. Ma'am, if your car is on his private property, well, that's trespassing. Her face went pale. She stuttered. But, he can't just build. The officer cut her off. Actually, he can. It's within his rights. I crossed my arms, enjoying every second. So, are we done here? She glared at me, then at the cop, then at the garage trapping her car. She had two options, pay me to open it, or get her car towed at her own expense. Either way. I won. The cop left. My neighbor? Still standing there, fuming. But now, she knew the truth, she had no power here. She tried to argue, throwing a tantrum like a toddler. You can't just keep my car locked up. I shrugged. Well, you seemed pretty comfortable parking there before. Why the rush now? Her face turned red. She knew she was stuck. Option 1? Pay me to open the gate. Option 2? Call a tow truck and pay even more to get her car out. I could see the battle in her mind, swallow her pride or empty her wallet. A few minutes later, she let out a heavy sigh and muttered, "How much?" I pretended to think. Well, garage spaces in this area aren't cheap. She ended up paying me to remove the gate. Cash. In hand. As I unlocked the gate, she sped out so fast, she nearly hit her own trash cans. And after that? She never parked in my driveway again. In fact, she started avoiding me completely, wouldn't even make eye contact. But the best part? The whole neighborhood found out. The guy next door laughed, "Man, that was legendary." Someone else said, "Honestly, she had it coming." Word spread fast. Even months later, whenever I walked past her house, I could see her peeking through her curtains, making sure I wasn't plotting my next move. Lesson learned, don't mess with someone else's driveway, unless you're ready to pay rent. So, what did we learn today? Mess with the wrong driveway, and you might just lose your parking privileges, forever. Some people only learn when they face real consequences. My neighbor thought she could walk all over me, but in the end, she paid the price, literally. This wasn't about revenge. It was about teaching a lesson. You don't get to disrespect someone's space and expect no consequences. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever dealt with an entitled neighbor like this? How would you have handled it? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this petty yet satisfying story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.